いる形に気づけなくてもつなげ合わせていくところ
What's up, guys? This is DT Ninja here to bring you my latest Bleach discussion. Yes, guys, this is my Bleach discussion for 6/16. Last week was incredible, guys. Yes, Aizen returning, and I have to pull it out here. Aizen returning, awesome, really awesome chapter. Really well done by Kubo. The fact that Jushiro Ukitake became this very important, piece. He's a sacrifice for the Soul King, and that's just a really great, very interesting piece of the puzzle, and it explains a lot. But my discussion is going to be based on two questions. Okay, two questions. First is going to be role. What are the roles of these people that I'm going to talk about? For first, what is the role of Uryu? Okay, in the coming chapters. What is the role of the Shinigami in the coming chapters? What is the role of the Quincy in the coming chapters? So Quincy and Uryu can, fall in the same category. And what is the role of Aizen and Ukitake? So these are just some characters we're going to touch on. So that's one question. The second question is going to be, where do I think that Kubo's going to go next week? Because he loves to skip. One chapter is at the Soul Palace, another chapter. That is why I love last chapter, because we started at the Soul Palace, we transitioned, and we went everywhere. We went from the Soul Palace. You went from the top to the bottom. We went from the Soul Palace to the to Urahara, where the gathering is, and then you went underground. That's just incredible in my book. But anyway, let's get into it, and finally I will explain my theory on Juha and the Soul King. Alright, so first things first. Okay, so first question is the roles, right? Okay, so let's talk about the Quincy's. What are the roles of the Quincy's? Okay, in this war, what is the role of the Quincy's? Okay, the role of the Quincy's are simple, right? They're supposed to do what Juha says, and they have his blood flowing within him, so they have to do what he says, or he can take their life away. It's this simple. But now that the Quincy's realize this, they're just sacrifices. Are they going to try to defy him? And can they defy him? In my opinion, I don't think they can. But someone like Baz B is not going to sit there and take just like be a sacrifice. I don't see that kind of a character just folding like that. And you saw in my review, he was pissed, right? So I don't see him doing that either. I could see him rebelling. Okay, even if he does have Juha's blood in him, I could see him fighting. I don't care if he dies or not, but if he goes down fighting, that'd be awesome. I would really like to see a rebellion from his own kind. That would be very interesting, and not just him, because this is where the next person comes into play. The next Quincy, Uryu Ushida. Okay, Uryu Ushida. This guy is an epic character. He's an epic character, and if you guys remember on episode, I believe it's 19, this was an epic episode, and I believe episode 14 is when it happens, is when Uryu says, "You're pathetic, Kurosaki Ichigo. You don't even sense spirits. You can't even sense where they are." He says, "Did you know that a spirit ribbon, a Soul Reaper's spirit ribbon is red?" And that exact saying is something that Ichigo used to find his Zanpakuto. So without Uryu, Ichigo would not have progressed this far. So I love how Kubo is starting to progress him a little bit, as we have volume 65. Obviously, we have the headless star, right, where Uryu confronts, or Ichigo confronts Uryu, right? Let's see if I can find it. Yes, here we go. Ichigo confronts Uryu, right? Ichigo confronts Uryu, and they have their little, talk, and, he just fires arrows, and he's kind of non-responsive, right? And Ichigo watches him walk away, and we all know what happens after that, right? The huge aftermath. But anyway, why did I bring him up? Basically, I wanted to bring him up because he's really important in this war. Because, think about it. Quincy pride, for him, has been huge. And it's been based off his grandfather, based off, the story about his mother being, killed. And now that he knows who did it, and he's in this position of, the new king, I'm thinking that maybe the war has shown him that the Quincy are not as, what he thought they were. Why am I fighting for these Quincy if they are no better than, I don't know, just like Juha himself is just, he doesn't seem like the guy I thought he was, even though, he killed my mother, I'm staying close to him to that time where I'm going to strike back. And I always thought that was the case. But maybe, even so, even if he does this, I think that we're going to get character progression. I think that maybe he could even, steal souls from Juha. If he has that ability, like Juha, to absorb souls, maybe he can take those powers that the other Quincy lost, because he's just, it's just a waste of space. He's not even using them. But if Uryu can, use them and to fight Juha, that'd be incredible if Kubo could pull that off. And I also believe Ichigo and Uryu are going to have their confrontation just like Sasuke and Naruto did in Naruto. So you could see Naruto and Sasuke confrontation, and I believe it's episode 128, Cry on Deaf Ears. You guys remember that? You could basically say that this is pretty much what that was, when Uryu was just, non-responsive, not even saying a word to Naruto, not even saying a word to Ichigo. It was kind of like he was Sasuke there, He was off to do his own thing. He has an agenda, okay? He has an agenda, but maybe this war is going to teach him that maybe, Quincy is not something I should represent anymore, I've been a Quincy my entire life, but maybe there's a reason my father doesn't, really represent a Quincy as my grandfather did. Maybe there's a reason I shouldn't represent a Quincy like I should, It's okay to be a Quincy, but is this really what I'm fighting for, Maybe the war is going to change his perspective of what a Quincy is. Maybe he'll break away from tradition, Maybe he won't be a Quincy anymore. So that's very interesting to think about. So that's just one thing. That's Uryu. Ichigo was the headless star in these chapters, okay? The headless star 2, all these were about Ichigo. If you guys didn't know that, Ichigo is the headless star. Now, why do I say he's the headless star? Well, there's a bunch of clues hidden in this volume. Once it comes out, you guys can see. But the thing is, the headless star is the commander, okay? The commander, and that was Yama, okay? He was the star. Now, when Yama died, Ichigo became the star. He became the commander. However, he's not really a Shinigami, right? In a sense, he's a Shinigami, right? But at the same time, he's a Quincy also. So it's kind of like he's both of them at the same time, but who is he really fighting for, And Juha saw that in him, He's a Shinigami, he's a Quincy, he's a Fullbringer, he's all these different things, but what is he really fighting for? And Ichigo really didn't have that answer. And I guarantee you that is why Kubo decided to use that. Because later on, we see him, stab the Soul King when Juha's blood rises, right? That is the reason, He's a Quincy, yet he's not fighting for the Quincy's. So, he's Headless Star. Okay? Alright, so, what is Ukitake and the Shinigami's role? Okay, the Shinigami, I think their role is very simple, okay? They're gonna go into the Soul Palace with this plan, okay? And they're planning to use Aizen as, I'm not sure if he's a decoy or if he's going to, play along with them, but I think the whole idea is kind of to backup. It's backup, right? They're backup. But they have to do something because obviously there's more than just Juha there. You got the elites that apparently, took down the Zero Squad. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential battles in the making. And plus, we haven't even talked about the Fullbringers, so we got that potentials, and maybe even another villain that we haven't even seen. So you gotta think about those too. The next one has to be Ukitake's role. Ukitake's role, he's a sacrifice to. Now he's going to be replace the Soul King. Now, I've heard theories that he's the right hand of the Soul King, the right arm of the Soul King. That may be, okay. But if he's going to replace the Soul King, are we talking about he's going to be the main person, or is he just part of the Soul King? That's something you should really think about, because he said he's going to replace the Soul King. Maybe he means, he's going to be a piece of the Soul King that will come together, That's my feeling. I don't know if he... Let's go on to Aizen's role, because Aizen's role is very key. I think this is going to be interesting, because Aizen... They're going to have to use strategy with Aizen, but also there's this factor where Aizen can just play along with the Shinigami, play along, and this is how he wants it, and then whenever he wants to, he can go off on his own. He can do his own thing. That is what I think Kubo is going to do, and as we're going along and somehow, I think that we're going to get a backstory on Aizen, because we need that backstory. What happened to him as a kid? What made him hate the Soul King? Okay? He's not a Quincy, is he? No. Alright, one more thing to show you guys. Aizen, is rising up into, the sky with the Manos light, and he's, going up into the sky, and who says something to Aizen, right? It's Ukitake, right? He's like, have you really, joined up with the Manos? Well, I can't remember what he said. Something about, I can't remember the exact thing in English. But anyway, he says something to him. And Ukitake, I remember Ukitake's words. He says, I remember Aizen's words. He says, you're blinded by your arrogance. You're blinded by your arrogance. So... it makes it sound like Aizen knows more about Ukitake than Ukitake knows about Aizen. But something tells me they're connected and they both know about the Soul King. So this was when that happened. You guys remember? When he takes off his glasses and, he says, nobody has stood at the top. Not you. I don't know if he's talking to everyone or if he's specifically talking to Ukitake. Not me, nor the gods. But that vacancy is now becoming clear to me, I alone will stand in heaven. That was an epic moment for Bleach. You guys remember that. Now, if Aizen truly knows about Ukitake, who's to say he doesn't know about Shunsui? Who's to say he doesn't know about Urahara as well? Urahara is a little, he might not know about Urahara, but he might know about Shunsui. Okay, so I'm just saying these people are some people to think about on being, people that are connected to the Soul King. So that's been it for this week. Look for my next video, which is my theory video about the Soul King and Juha. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, have a great day.